Radiant team ban.
Alright folks, here we are back at the Chicago Dota 2 Open, sponsored by SteelSeries and Merlini Dota, held at the Ignite Gaming Lounge right here in Chicago. You can check them out, ignitegl.com. And we're at the grand final. I mean, it all comes down to this. Please gank Shiibbyy. Not dropping a single game just yet. This was a double elimination, best of one bracket to this point, but now it actually will be best of three. I'll talk about the format in just a second, actually. Unfortunately, we don't have the pips at the top for best of three, but we're not going to bother remaking for those. That would not be worth our time. Altered State, they got sent down in the winner's bracket final by Please Gank Shiibbyy, but then they made it back up. In fact, why don't we take a quick peek at the bracket? So, that's not how you pull the bracket up. What a scrub I am. So, Please Gank Shiibbyy defeating What's the Roche Time in the first round. They beat Ice Cream City in a game that we watched on this stream in the second winner's bracket round. They were able to very effectively just pull it together. Excellent team coordination in that game. Then, in the winner's bracket final against Altered State, we watched that game as well. Please Gank Shiibbyy took that out. They had a 15-1 Magnus on Shiibbyy, solo mid in the game in the second round. They had a 15-2 Storm Spirit. So, any plan for Altered State to win this grand final has to run through dealing with that solo mid presence. Then, if we look up towards Altered State, they won their first round. The first game that we ever watched in this tournament was almost an homage to the old MYM Merlini global style. And of course, Merlini, one of the sponsors of this tournament, so that was a nice little touch. They defeated 2HU with the global strategy of Ancient Apparition, Nature's Prophet, Zeus, and Spectre, and they did so in style. They then tore through Ignition in the second round before falling to Please Gank Shiibbyy in that winner's bracket final. But then, we watched them defeat Ice Cream City in the loser's bracket final with some excellent teamfight coordination and a huge, absolutely insanely huge Weaver, and that takes them here. So let's go to the game. Quick note about the format while we're here. This is a best of three followed by a possible best of one. We have a best of three coming out right now. The winner of that determines whether or not we play more games. If Please Gank Shiibbyy do win the initial best of three, they will become the champions. They will take number one in this tournament, and Altered State will be number two. If Altered State win the best of three, it goes on to a best of one to determine the champion. And the reason this is of course, Please Gank Shiibbyy came through the winner's bracket. Tournament organizers wanted to balance the winner's bracket needing to have some sort of advantage, otherwise there's, no incentive to win, with the fact that you don't want to give a team too big of an advantage because it's just anti-hype. And the compromise they made, I completely agree with. If Altered State win this best of three, there's a best of one. If Please Gank Shiibbyy win the best of three, then we're done for the day. So we're up into this draft, and an interesting trend that I've noticed in this particular tournament is this: everybody loves Warlock. Warlock has just been climbing higher and higher in the pick order, up until this point when Altered State actually secures it with their very first pick. So first pick Warlock, I like this, honestly. It's done a lot of work for every team that's used it so far in this tournament. Of course, that Chaotic Offering, nothing to sneeze at. It can just completely turn a fight. And the Fatal Bonds also, especially in their final against Ice Cream City. Ice Cream City, they had a lot of damage that they could throw out on Altered State, but Altered State had the Fatal Bonds, and so the Fatal Bonds were enough to just completely lift them up over what Ice Cream City could put out. If we look at these bans, I don't know if everybody watching the stream right now actually saw the winner's bracket final, but there are a lot of respect bans coming out from both teams so far. We've got the respect ban of the Storm Spirit coming from Altered State, the respect ban of the Bounty Hunters. So these are both heroes that Please Gank Shiibbyy used against them in their winner's bracket final. They just seem to really want to make sure that Shiibbyy does not dominate again on those mid-heroes. So it looks like we'll get a test in this best of three of the depth of Shiibbyy's talent pool. Is he just a Storm Spirit and Magnus player, or, is he able to play whatever mid-hero he wants and just dominate regardless? It looks like Altered State want to test the theory with some of these bans. Batrider gone, Storm Spirit gone, Bounty Hunter gone, and the Lone Druid, which is no great surprise. But speaking of respect bans, PGS taking out that Weaver that, who was it on the Weaver in the last game? I believe it was I'm Famous. Went, 15-1 or 14-1 on the Weaver. It was pretty out of hand as a performance. So just taking out that Weaver, making sure that they can't pair it up with the Warlock. The Fatal Bonds, of course, percolates all your damage across the other heroes. And if you're dealing tremendous damage to one hero with Weaver, and it goes on to every single other hero, the other team's going to have a bit of trouble there. So we head into the second pick phase. PGS, they've taken up this Lifestealer and Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon, an incredibly popular support hero, of course. Really hasn't fallen out of the metagame one iota. his win rate has been suffering a little bit because sometimes he just dies a lot. He can't really bring enough to the table, but he is excellent against a bunch of carries. If he generates illusions of that carry, it can be dramatic. Additionally, of course, he slows people down quite a bit with the Demonic Purge. It can make a huge difference in a team fight. And we do have the Magnus and the Puck in play, so these are the two mids for both teams. Magnus, of course, he can be relegated to an offlane, but you generally don't want to do so. Most likely, we're going to see this Magnus versus Puck showdown. Typically, you would say that Puck is favored in that 1v1 matchup. Puck has the Silence that can be very useful against Magnus. The Dream Coil can actually be backbreaking, because if you Dream Coil Magnus, he can't really skewer without triggering it going, coming and going, essentially. That said, it is very difficult to actually kill a Magnus in the lane, as long as he's able to get levels. If they do have Avu Kamo playing this Magnus, if he can get the levels, if he can get a timely Blink Dagger, they'll feel very good about where their Magnus is at. And one more pick left in the second pick phase for both Altered State and Please Gank Shiibbyy. They take the Dragon Knight, so could actually switch things up here. The Dragon Knight, of course, there are the options to run him side lane as a carry. In the last game, we did see Altered State doing that. They ran Dragon Knight, they ran Xian on Dragon Knight, and they actually went for an aggressive tri-lane, which I was personally very surprised by, but it's certainly an option. It's becoming more and more popular now that Bottle Crow Dragon Knight is a little less common. And the fact that they have 3 potential solo laners also has to throw PGS for a little bit of a loop, because of course, they're not sure. I mean, do Altered State run the Warlock mid and the Magnus something like side lane solo with an aggressive tri-lane? Do they run a tri-lane in the safe lane with Dragon Knight and they run the Magnus solo off lane? They have a lot of options that they can still do, and you're unsure of their 5th pick. Please Gank Shiibbyy, meanwhile, taking the Jakiro. In my opinion, this almost necessitates a ban of Clockwork from Altered State. It's tough to ban 3 separate heroes all for the same role, i.e. offlane, but in this case, I think a Clockwork ban would be very warranted. The combination with Jakiro is just so strong. The only other opportunity for them would be maybe to use the Warlock as a support, and you have the Clockwork for themselves, because that could integrate fairly well with their team. They don't have that much in the way of melee other than Magnus. The Dragon Knight, of course, in every team fight, he's going to be in his ultimate form, and if he's not, you have bigger problems than Clockwork. But most likely, I have to say, I would expect them to ban the Clockwork here, and then try to go for, and then use their lane advantage to their best. If Clockwork does get through, and Altered State don't pick him, I can't imagine that Please Gank Shiibbyy doesn't lock up that Clockwork like it's going out of style, because it'll just make an excellent offlaner. It could even make a nice solo safe if they decide to go Shadow Demon, Jakiro, Lifestealer. And later on, those cogs are just such perfect placement for all of Jakiro's abilities. I think I mentioned that in an earlier game, but it's just an extremely synergistic pick that you can use. And in fact, Jakiro is quite strong against Clockwork as well, but mostly they're very, very strong in concert, because Clockwork ensures that you have people that you can hit with the Macro Pyre, people that you can hit with Ice Path Dual Breath. And we're going to see Shiibbyy on a 3rd hero. So we saw him on Storm Spirit in the last game, Magnus in the game before that, and this time Puck. Puck, another hero that can absolutely just seize a game by its lapels and completely control it in every respect. If he gets levels, if he gets fast Blink Dagger and can just be the extremely annoying hero the Puck can be. And it's actually a Windrunner ban, so another potential for a solo lane, a hero that also has upside as a potential off carry. Lifestealer, he's a fine primary carry, but frequently we see teams try to go dual core with him, and this Windrunner ban actually removes one of the dual core options. One of the things that you can use in concert with the Lifestealer to just dominate. PGS, meanwhile, yet another respect ban in the form of the Sand King. The Sand King, of course, the play in the losers bracket final was very, very impressive. And what you see in these bans is these two teams reacting to the little information that they can glean about each other, right? So most likely these teams haven't played each other that much before. I mean, I could be wrong, maybe they scrim all the time, but more likely than not, all they have to go on for how does the other team play is their one game that they played against each other, and the games that they've seen their opponents play while they're spectating. So in that case, I mean, you're in the position where you have very little information to go on as far as bans, so you can just try to target what you've seen them work with. And Queen of Pain, so this is a pick I actually really wasn't expecting from Altered State. This basically this means that the Warlock is more or less completely relegated to a support. They can go with what they've gone with an aggressive tri-lane, so if they do choose to run bottom with the Dragon Knight Rubik Warlock, they can send the Queen of Pain to the middle and the Magnus solo lane, or vice versa, depending on what the matchups are. They can put the Queen of Pain in the side lane solo and the Magnus mid. Interesting, I guess I was completely wrong about Clockwork, so I really thought that it would come through, but no. We do see him coming through. We have Clinks actually to pick up for Please Gank Shiibbyy. So this is a hero that you can run as the side lane solo. Probably, I mean, you have to run him in the safe lane. So this basically ossifies their lanes. Their lanes are more or less completely predictable at this point. Clinks in the safe lane solo, Lifestealer, Shadow Demon Jakiro in the aggressive tri-lane, and Puck in the middle. The only other option will be something like the no, it's going to be that. The only other option would be maybe Clinks as the safe lane, tri-lane, and Lifestealer solo hard, but that I think would be excessively cute. I really do expect them to just go what I just said. Meanwhile, I'm famous piloting up the Magnus. We'll see where he ends up going with this. And Avukamu, who played mid, he was on the Queen of Pain. So it's looking like Queen of Pain versus Puck. Puck, of course, we talked about it. He has a bit of an advantage against Magnus, so perhaps as this is to even the odds, to put the Puck against a person that can actually fight him. And then V-Carbs, Novocaine, and Cyan will be the tri-lane on the Dragon Knight, Rubik, Warlock, Avocado, as I said, the Queen of Pain, and I'm famous on the Magnus, maybe going mid. I mean, we'll see. Looking up towards PGS, they have not dropped a game yet this tournament. They've looked very dominant, and we'll see how they do in this best of 3. We've got Shiibbyy on the Puck up in the middle, Hackle Shots on the Jakiro, as well as Heartbound on the Shadow Demon, supporting Lifestealer for McQueen. And then that leaves Barbara as the Clinks, looking to go up into the solo hard lane. So we'll have to keep an eye on this Clinks, so we see how he actually manages to do in this lane. They're probably seeking a 1v1, so they're not entirely sure where the 1v1 is going to be. There's this little mind game that goes on where if you have a lane that you want to be 1v1 and a lane that you want to be 3v3, and the other team knows that just as well as you do, it becomes a guessing game of, hey, where are they going to send their tri-lane so we can make sure we send ours. Yeah. So we'll see who actually wins in that mind game in the end. But currently, we do have Avukamu basically going into the Queen of Pain as the solo hard, and this might be a pretty bleak lane for her as well. He does take Blink first, so he'll be able to get away from certain gank attempts. But I'm still quite concerned both for the Clinks and the Queen of Pain. Nice DD rune pickup for Clinks, actually. Such a nice little rune considering Clinks' base damage is frankly quite atrocious. Just a facet of the hero that you have to deal with. And in the end, yeah, I mean, we got Magnus in the middle going up against this Puck. Not the easiest matchup. I feel like I made so many bad calls, and it's just as a result of the teams sort of psyching each other out, using all these possible solo heroes and being like, well, you can't guess what we're actually going to run. Queen of Pain rooting around in the jungle here. He does put a ward block. It's a little shielded from vision. I would actually love if it was even farther in, like right here. Maybe they'll still be able to counter ward this. Yeah, it looks like they know. There's a little bit of a cut here already going on. Yep, they spot the ward out. Queen of Pain will not get this block. Abukama, he does have the boots, so maybe he can walk away from a lot of potential attempted ganks. Open wounds, of course, not tremendously useful against Queen of Pain, especially once he has Blink rank 2. At Blink rank 1, he's still okay. We've talked about this Clinks, the style that Barbara is doing at Clinks before as well. We called it the Hannah Montana style, the style of just hanging out in the jungle, trying to make sure you get levels. Uh-oh, they know where he is. Hackle Shots is a very, very good idea where this Queen of Pain is hiding out. He cuts in. They see the Queen of Pain. He immediately forced to blink out. There's the disruption. Ice Path to follow. That will be a little bit of a stun. Unfortunately, it's only the tail end of the Ice Path, so it actually expires. Avukamu chased out of the lane, but no first blood opportunity available. Meanwhile, same is going on over here. Oh, the stun goes up. Clink's taking a tremendous amount of damage. His health is very low. There's the lift and the kill. Warlock with another tick of the Shadow Word. I'm sure they would have loved to get that kill on Cien, but they will be happy. Altered State picking up the first blood in this tri-lane against the Clinks. And these non-traditional off-laners definitely feeling the pressure, feeling the heat a little bit this early in this game game 1 of the Dota 2 Open Finals. Meanwhile, in the middle, I'm famous, just whiling away the time until he manages to hit that bottle. There it is, and they do have the Flying Courier to bring it to them, reusing that Speed Demon with the little flame trail. Shiibbyy, of course, pressuring I'm famous very heavily so far in. We do have a farm advantage accruing to PGS this early. Dragon Knight only had about 8 last hits. Oh, wow, Shiibbyy really dueling for this rune, and it looks like he's going to be able to score it. A regen, very fantastic. Is he going to... Nice skewer, can he get it? No. Unfortunately, this is a regen rune for Puck. This is actually Troll for I Am Famous. He's probably going to take a gobs of harassment if Shiibbyy decides to pursue this. No, there's the shockwave. Zoning him out a little bit. I'm not sure if he can win. He has one more charge, but he may want to save this up to speed up that courier on its fairy delivery. Shiibbyy just continuing to harass, but it's only a level 1 orb. He has taken 1/1/1 with the phase shift, so that means that this orb is really just tickling I'm famous. If it was rank 2, he'd be doing quite a bit more damage, but at the cost of not having Waning Rift, not having phase shift. One of those two. Barbara, meanwhile, just cuts in here trying to get more, but it looks like either the sentry's blocking it or they body blocked it because there's no creeps there for him to actually use for a pull. So no levels for this Clinks just yet. I mean, he's at level 3, so he's done fine so far. If we look towards Queen of Pain, how's she doing? Most of the way through level 2, so hard to say how the offlanes are doing just yet. A little caution ping coming out from Hackle Shots. They have once again spotted out Avukamu. And this is the difference. Queen of Pain, she can't just stealth. She doesn't cause you to spend money. You can see that money has been spent by Altered State to deal with this Clinks in a way that money has not really been spent by PGS to deal with the Queen of Pain, other than the obligatory block of the creeps here. And consequently, I mean, Clinks, he can just hang out with the sentry wards aren't and get some XP. If he can try to snipe some of these last hits on the jungle creeps here, yeah, he's gonna maybe get that one. He does. So getting a little bit of extra XP. Novocaine just zoning him out, but they look to be out of sentry wards. Yeah, they are. So Clinks can hang around here. They know he's stealth, but there's not a damn thing they can do about it. The Speed Demon not actually delivering any wards. It's just getting a soul ring. It seems like it's interesting, actually. Altered State really seem to like the Soul Ring Dragon Knight just for the extra Flame Breath. So this is something we've seen people go before. Funny thing is, the Soul Ring's coming before he even has Flame Breath. So what are you gonna what are you using it for, really? But it is nice timing. He's farming okay, 15 for 1. Big issue is Shiibbyy is just dominant in this middle lane again. And then we talked about this. Shiibbyy, very, very strong mid player. Kind of carries his team in some respects, just in the sense that he's clearly the center of activity, even if the other players have a very, very excellent... what am I missing here? Very excellent execution. So 23 for 2 on this puck. 23 for 12 on Lifestealer. I mean, just the amount of XP they've denied by having 13 denies to the collective 3 or 4 that they have in the Altered Strife tri-lane means that Queen of Pain has really struggled to get levels. Still level 3 here. I mean, it's trouble. And Hackle Shots, every time she's hiding out in the trees, this Jakira spots her. He's got like an eagle eye, basically. Plus the ward up here helps them as well, because they can see her approach. If you see Queen of Pain here, and then she blinks, you know for a fact she's basically here, right? So this is going to be a problem. If Clinks out-levels Queen of Pain, Clinks certainly isn't going to get a very timely Orchid Malevolence at this offlane, but even if he gets levels, I mean, he will be able to do quite a bit of supportive ganking. He probably won't be able to kill people by himself until he gets the Orchid, but in concert with Puck, he can absolutely get ganks, and Puck's been farming incredibly well. Arcane Boots if he wants it. I think he just picked it up, probably. Phase Boots, okay, so extra move speed, extra damage. Little bit of carry Puck coming into play here. Lifestealer, meanwhile, also farming up a storm. Phase Boots for him. PGS clearly just want to have a very ganky, very mobile lineup that can just devastate people. And it's difficult. Altered State, they're going to have to find a plan to deal with this, and especially the Magnus just really struggling to get any farm. Look at this tier 1 Boots bottle, nowhere near his tier 2 boots. He really doesn't have much gold to work with at all. As a result of, I mean, he has 12 last hits. It's not bad, but he's losing by over 20 to the Puck. It's far more farm. Look at the levels, actually. Queen of Pain down at 3, Warlock down at 3. This is the issue. You really need levels on... Oh, actually, Barbara, will he tick down from Shadow Ward? He might. One more tick. Yes! They get the Clinks a second kill. This is the upside. If you can kill Clinks, you're in fantastic shape. Nice damage over time, just... Even though Queen of Pain is struggling to get levels, hey, at least he hasn't fed gold. Clinks now with 2 deaths on the board. He is level 5, but that's a little bit of extra gold. Was that a kill for Warlock again? Yeah, 2 kills for Warlock. Basilius, probably tier 2 boots coming up next for V-Carbs, and his Sand King game was incredible. We'll have to see how the Warlock plays out in the end. Clinks, once again back to this lane, he sees the opportunity for more XP. Avukamu, meanwhile, just hiding out, trying to get a little bit of experience on the board any way he can, but just the denies coming through. It's tough for this Queen of Pain. They're going to have to find a solution to bring this Queen of Pain into the action somehow, in my opinion. Right now, Quap, not a very useful hero if she's behind on level. She's really just a damage dealer. She doesn't bring anything else to the table as a hero. Rest of the level scenario is Clinks up at 5, going towards 6. I'm Famous is level 6, so he's doing just fine, but Dragon Knight's still down at level 5. The Lifestealer is almost his way into level 7. Most likely we're going to see Lifestealer charge right into that armlet, and that'll make him very effective. Dragon Knight will fall pretty quickly to a Lifestealer if he's got good attack speed. He levels up that Feast to chew through Dragon Knight's massive HP pool. Feast ignores armor. I mean, the high armor of Dragon Knight doesn't matter a whit for Feast damage, so Lifesteal is going to be very happy doing that duel. Now, theoretically, PGS Altered State have this multiple core lineup. Here comes Clinks trying to make a gank, but maybe a little bit of miscommunication here. Shiibbyy not quite ready to execute the gank at that exact moment, so Magnus walks away safe, and Barber actually forced to retreat. He took a ton of damage from the tower there, so kind of unfortunate. No gank succeeded there, but Shiibbyy rocketing towards his Blink Dagger pretty quickly. Novocaine, V-Carbs, just doing the standard support thing. They're pulling lanes here, trying to get a little bit of XP. This Rubik doing pretty well, actually. Level 5 at 8 minutes. No real ganks to worry about. He's participated in 2 kills. And Warlock wending his way towards level 5 as well. You really need that level 6, and then you have tremendous 5-man potential as Warlock when you hit level 6, of course. Avukamo, meanwhile, finally able to earn a little bit of XP. Former Queen does have a lot of denies. I mean, in fact, he has a disgusting amount of denies. 29 denies. The amount of... If you think about the fact that he's up against a... It's not a clockwork. Avukamo isn't getting a decent chunk of the XP for these denies. He's getting none. So that's part of what's keeping him so low, is these 30 denies. I think, actually, I'm not going to calculate this, but it seems like Former Queen has more denies than everybody else on the map. Here we go, the Gank, the Ice Path, the Soul Catcher. No possible way for I'm Famous to get away. He has his RP, but no time to cast it. No mana, no health, no hope. Nice, well-coordinated gank using 4 players, but it worth it, in my opinion. Klinkspert gets to participate. Actually, he didn't get the assist, but still, at least he's in the vicinity of a kill, gets that assist gold. And PGS, that actually gets them onto the board, and I've been talking as if they're ahead, because it feels like they are ahead, even though if you look at the goal, you know, the kills, they're behind. 2,000 gold advantage, 2,000 XP. PGS so far looking very strong. I mean, again, it mostly comes down to the fact that Former Queen substantially outfarming Cien. Cien has gotten most of the last hits, but not quite enough. Maybe they want to do something like start stacking these jungle camps a little more for the Dragon Knight so we can take them out with this Breathe Fire plus Soul Ring. Thing is, he's gone the super tanky approach, so the Soul Ring is only giving him one more use of a level 1 Breathe Fire, which it does AoE damage, but only 90. I mean, that's not really that much. It seems like the Soul Ring not doing that much damage. They were going to go get the Ice Path. What a nice Ice Path timing. The Soul Catcher is up. Former Queen, what excellent play here. This is still level 1 Blink. Queen of Pain, no chance. That was neat. Lifestealer actually not open woundsing immediately, walking to the point where the Queen of Pain would end up, and then open woundsing. And that's the difficulty of the underlevel Queen of Pain. Still only a level 1 Blink. Short range, high cooldown, not really able to survive there. Maybe I was wrong about the life leech. Somebody pointed out on Twitch chat that armor does actually reduce feast damage, which I could be wrong. I thought it actually ignored armor, but I could be completely wrong as well. Level 2 Dragon Tail for Cien, so, He's still going this very tanky build. He clearly is somewhat concerned about being attacked, so he's... yeah, he's clearly concerned about a possible gank attempt from Puck coming in, from Klinks adding to that, and... Barbara just shooting Warlock through the tree area here in the pocket. There's the Sentry Ward, but it's not that greatly positioned. They actually don't even land the stun. So that's definitely a miss. Yeah. Meanwhile, Altered State actually rotating a lot into the bottom. They moved Dragon Knight here. It's now 4. Basically everybody except for Magnus. And actually, where's Magnus? No, Magnus is here. They're only missing the Rubik, who's getting a few levels. He actually has a Spell Steal now. And they're pushing into the Tier 1 while also pushing into the Tier 1 bottom. They do still have a little bit of time on this Dragon Knight. The Corrosive Breath going to do a substantial amount of damage to the tower. Meanwhile, Shiibbyy finishes off the mid, picks up his Blink Dagger. That'll be very good mobility for him. Ability to sort of generate fight opportunities. They've got the Chaotic Offering. I mean, this is the thing they have the ultimates. Oh, but what an Ice Path. Hackle shots with the Hackle Ice Paths. They still need a Fatal Bonds. It's not quite up. Where is this Fatal Bonds? It does come up finally. The RP coming through as well. I'm Famous doing what he can, but they don't quite have the damage set. They pick off Shiibbyy. Former Queen still alive, but still a lot of HP available. Dragon Knight with actually an infested Rubik, so it looks like 2 for 1 here. A little bit of an advantage has been earned. Former Queen still seeking to fight. He's got this rank 4 open wounds, almost the same range that it used to have before. That's the funny thing. Rank 4 open wounds is still shorter range than rank 1 open wounds used to be. But nonetheless, Altered State, they walk away with a bit of a win there. They do have the comfort of having the Rubik on their team, so they don't have to worry about anybody stealing their Warlock ultimate or their Keep with Light ultimate. Wow, Former Queen actually taking a lot of damage, but the Skewer pushes him back. He gets open wounds. He's healing up quite a bit. There's the disruption. Did Altered State massively overreact here? Rubik goes down. Magnus just trying to chase this courier, but I don't think he can get it. He's at 3 HP. No, it's another kill for Former Queen. Meanwhile, Cien getting chased. V-Carps has re-entered the fight, I think just to save his Dragon Knight friend. He doesn't have much in the way of being able to kill Heartbound. Heartbound just trying to juke and jive. There's the Ice Path, another excellent one. And Altered State, they definitely overstayed their welcome, losing 3. Immediately, the shoe is back on PGS's feet, and That was 3 free kills, basically. I'll just say I think they felt they could die. Oh my god, Shiibbyy, so hyped. The Dream Coil comes through. Cien will almost certainly fall. One more hit. Nice Dragon Tail. He's fighting for his life. He does have Breathe Fire in just a second. No, he won't be able to get it. I'm Famous back in. He skewers, but he's disrupted. PGS are just going to dive him really hard again. Oh, this is going from bad to worse for I'll just say they are really just throwing good money after bad. Novocaine now in trouble. Chewed through by the lifestealer. He has his armlet. Shiibbyy blinking through again. That's 7 straight kills. They're getting demolished by PGS here. Diving right past the tier 1 tower, even as they bring it down. And Altered State, that just went to hell in a handbasket completely for them. Pursued all the way from the tier 1, behind the tier 1 tower, through to these jungle creeps, past the tier 1, more people TPing on the tier 1 and the tier 2, just dying time after time after time. Altered State, I think they got oh man, Shiibbyy, here comes the Lifestealer Bomb, another kill on Warlock. At this point, the Blink, combined with the Infest, starts to be incredibly frightening if you are a support of Altered States. And at this point, it doesn't really matter to them that the Clinks is a little behind and isn't quite a Orchid, because just the Puck and Lifestealer alone have seized control of this game. And in fact, if we look at the net worth graphs, I mean, only the Barbara is actually... Oh, there we go again. Shiibbyy dominating this game yet again. 3 for 1, now 4 for 1. Blinking over just to secure the kill on the Rubik. 4 for 1 now on the Puck. Look at this net worth. Dragon Knight, Cien only about where Barbara is. And frankly, Altered State in this game, after a great team fight, just consistently getting outclassed in the subsequent action. I Am Famous tried to die, but keep on, he doesn't have Blink. I mean, this is a Puck with Blink and a Magnus without, and that's not balanced. That is not a balanced matchup for the Magnus. Altered State, they feel the need to team fight. They've got this ultimate. Dragon Knight's still with that level 1 Breathe Fire. This Soul Ring doing almost nothing for him. I would love a Drums in the place of this, but he does have Helm of the Iron Will. My guess is he's probably building towards Helm of the Dominator to try to close this net worth gap by farming Ancients. They're going to have to be diligent about stacking the Ancients in advance of it, though, because as soon as Dragon Knight hits level 11, they're going to want to do that. The other option, of course, is... Oh, actually, I'm Famous deeply in. There's the first ultimate. Chaos Offering comes through. Cien, however, taking tremendous amounts of damage from this Puck. Actually, he's down. Forma Queen, meanwhile, just chewing on V-Carbs. Shiibbyy already getting a double kill. Lots of health coming out for the Warlock. Very nice juking. The problem is Barbara in the back already getting a kill. They pick off the final remaining member that's not running. V-Carbs, he can only live so long. There's the open wounds. Shadow Ward can't help you now. Shiibbyy comes in just for a little bit of a kill steal, and that's a 5 wipe for Altered State. Now, with 1 kill of the last 14, Barbara looks to take his team up into the Roche. This is probably an easy Roshan for them. The issue right now is still no damage from Queen of Pain. Still no tier 2 boots. 2 null talismans available. It's just... It's rough. It's very, very, very rough. And PGS seek to pick up this Roshan. I'd be surprised if they don't get it. Roshan actually going with a vengeance. Oh man, Avukamu completely out of position here. No, what a nice ice path. Every single one of these ice paths, I have to say. Shiibbyy might get the glory from his kills, deaths, but hackle shots. My god, these ice paths have been good. It's like a delectable Jakiro performance here, frankly. If you want to see how to play Jakiro ice paths, this is a good VOD to start with. Yules, actually, for Shiibbyy. He's actually in Vizrud. He can Yules up 1 target and clear out the rest. Barbara carrying a Lifestealer. They have so many Lifestealer bombs. I'm Famous is going to drop in an instant. Cien, no way he gets away from this. He does manage to get a kill on Forma Queen. Nice ability to actually get something out of nothing there. The Lifestealer kill, at least. V-Carbs with the excellent Ice Path juke. The problem is, Warlock, tier 1 boots, 345. How can you escape from this Blink Puck? How can you escape from this Clinks? You don't. You get picked off. Another Ice Path. A Macro Pyre just to get the Rubik. And Shiibbyy curls around with another Waning Rift. This is getting his... Oh, the Yules to dodge the Queen of Pain ultimate. Avukamu tried to make something happen with that Scream, with that Sonic Wave. And oh man, he doesn't even land the Shadow Strike because of Phase Shift. And Barbara will walk out. Heartbound very, very low. Maybe Avukamu tries to go for something here. Was this overly optimistic? Yes, it was. He gets nothing. Heartbound lives defensive disruption, and they actually call the GG, as I think Altered State just felt that they lost control of that game. Right from the laning phase, Queen of Pain, I really feel that Altered State maybe went with too many solo laners, too many level-dependent characters. They had nobody that could survive that solo lane. Maybe the Magnus should have gone there after all. I feel like he could have at least done better than the Quap. It's not that Avukamu played poorly, it's just that he ends up level 3 at 7 minutes, or level 3 at 8 minutes, I think, actually. It's brutal to be in that position. It's brutal to be that far behind on Queen of Pain, a hero who brings nothing if she's behind on levels. And PGS, meanwhile, showing why they were the favorites, or one of the favorites going into this tournament. The Hackle Ice Paths, the Shiibbyy played excellently. They won basically every lane, and even Clinks, frankly, with the 2 deaths. Sure, he died twice, but he got his levels. He got the development. And so we go to game 2. PGS on match point, on tournament point, in fact. Dominant so far, and we'll have to see. Alright, there's the post-game screen. We're going to go up into Game 2 in just a second, folks. Don't go away. Chicago Dota 2 Open Grand Finals will resume